Love has a way of showing up when you least expect it. For Xinyi, it came back in the form of a familiar laugh, a gentle smile, and eyes that still seemed to see straight into her heart. Years had passed since college, since late-night talks and secret promises. She had tried to move on, to bury the memories, to live her life, but somehow, some part of her never forgot. And then there was Li Wei, the girl who had been her first love, her first heartbreak, her first everything. The one she had shared stolen moments with, whispered secrets under the stars, and held hands in the quiet corners of the world. The one who had left her life, only to return in the most unexpected way. Xinyi felt her chest tighten, her heart beating faster, a mix of nostalgia and fear. No, not her, not now. But Li Wei's presence was undeniable. A soft, knowing smile that carried 1,000 unspoken words. Eyes that once sparkled with affection now held a hint of something else. Something that made Xinyi's heart ache and race at the same time. Love, it seemed, had returned. Quietly, powerfully, and exactly when she least expected it. And for both of them, the story that had once ended was far from over. Soon Xinyi walked into the bright, modern office for her first day, trying to calm her racing heart. She focused on her ID card, her laptop bag, and the steady rhythm of her steps. Everything seemed ordinary, until she saw her, Li Wei, sitting at the corner desk, typing with perfect posture. Li Wei looked up for a moment and their eyes met. Xinyi froze. Every memory came rushing back. Laughter in the campus library. Secret notes exchanged in class. The warmth of Li Wei's hand in hers. Li Wei's gaze softened slightly, just enough for Xinyi to feel her cheeks heat up. Then, just like that, Li Wei returned to her work, leaving Xinyi to wonder if that fleeting look had been intentional or just coincidence. Xinyi tried to focus on meeting her team, introducing herself politely, and learning the office layout. But every glance at the boss made her heart skip a beat. Even when Li Wei didn't look at her directly, the subtle awareness in her aura reminded Xinyi of the past. During lunch, Xinyi found herself sitting near Liu Fang, her friendly colleague, who immediately noticed her distracted demeanor. "Something wrong?" Liu Fang asked, raising an eyebrow. Xinyi shook her head quickly. "No, just first day jitters." But the truth was impossible to hide. Li Wei was not just any boss. She was the woman who had once held Xinyi's heart, and perhaps still did. By the end of the day, Xinyi realized one thing. Working under her ex would be far more complicated than she ever imagined. The next morning, Xinyi arrived earlier than usual, determined to act professional. But Li Wei had already seen her entering the lobby. Their eyes met briefly, and a small, almost imperceptible smirk tugged at Li Wei's lips. Throughout the day, small interactions shared coffee machines, passing notes. Casual greetings became charged with unspoken words. Every smile, every accidental touch, brought back years of memories and desires they had buried. Xinyi caught herself replaying past moments. The soft voice of Li Wei whispering her name. The way her fingers fit perfectly in hers. The feeling of being seen like no one else ever had. And Li Wei? She was acutely aware of the effect she had on Xinyi. She noticed every nervous glance, every quick inhale, every subtle hesitation. The past wasn't gone, it was alive, and it was pulling them closer, whether they were ready or not. Tension hung like electricity in the air. Both knew this workplace romance was inevitable, and neither could ignore the feelings that refused to stay buried. By midweek, Sun Xinyi was beginning to adjust to her new role, though every interaction with Li Wei felt like walking on a tightrope. Small moments passing by her desk, sharing the printer, or reaching for the same document were charged with electricity. One afternoon, Xinyi accidentally knocked over a stack of files. Papers scattered across the floor. "Oh no," Xinyi muttered, kneeling to pick them up. "Need a hand?" Li Wei's voice was calm but carried that familiar teasing edge. Xinyi looked up. Li Wei was holding the rest of the files, her brows slightly raised. I've got it, thanks," Xinyi stammered, cheeks burning. Li Wei smirked faintly. "You know, you've always had a talent for getting into trouble." Xinyi froze. That voice, that tone, it was the same one from college, the same that used to make her heart flutter. Well, maybe I haven't changed much," she admitted, a nervous laugh escaping. Li Wei leaned slightly closer. "Some things never change, huh?" The brief proximity left Xinyi dizzy, her mind spinning with memories, with desire, with the unspoken "what if" that had never truly gone away. The next day, Li Wei asked Xinyi to help with a presentation. As they sat together, reviewing slides, their shoulders brushed lightly. A silence lingered, charged and intimate. "You're really good at this," Li Wei said, her voice softer than usual. Xinyi's heart raced. "Thanks. I guess I learned from the best," she replied, thinking of all those late nights during college when Li Wei had patiently taught her, had encouraged her, had made her feel seen. Li Wei glanced at her, eyes lingering a moment too long. "You've grown a lot, but some things remind me of the past," she murmured. Xinyi swallowed hard. "Some things never really leave, huh?" Li Wei's lips curved into a small, knowing smile. Apparently not. For both of them, it was clear. The past was no longer just a memory. It had returned, wrapped in playful smiles, lingering touches and stolen glances. And the tension between them? It was impossible to ignore. By the end of chapter 4, both Xinyi and Li Wei were aware of one undeniable truth. This old flame wasn't done with them yet, and every interaction only made it stronger. It started with something small. A new client meeting. Xinyi had been assigned to assist Li Wei and another department lead a confident, charming woman named Zhao Xin. She was sharp, stylish, and far too comfortable standing close to Li Wei. During the meeting, Zhao Xin leaned toward Li Wei, whispering something that made her smile a soft, rare smile that Xinyi used to think belonged only to her. Xinyi's chest tightened. "Why does that bother me?" she thought, forcing herself to focus on her notes. After the meeting, Zhao Xin casually placed a hand on Li Wei's arm. "You should join me for dinner tonight. We need to discuss future collaborations." Li Wei hesitated just slightly. Her eyes flickered toward Xinyi. "That sounds productive," Li Wei replied professionally. Productive. The word felt like a blade to Xinyi's heart. Later that evening, as Xinyi packed her bag, she tried to ignore the ache in her chest. But just as she stepped toward the exit, "Xinyi," that voice, she turned. Li Wei was standing behind her, expression unreadable. You seem distracted today, Li Wei said calmly. Xinyi forced a smile. Just work pressure, boss. The word boss sounded colder than she intended. Li Wei's eyes darkened slightly. You never used to call me that. Silence. The air between them shifted heavier, more dangerous. That was a long time ago, Xinyi whispered. Li Wei stepped closer. Was it? The next few days felt tense. Zhao Xin continued appearing around Li Wei, laughing with her, discussing projects, occasionally touching her arm. Every time, Xinyi felt a storm rising inside her. One late evening, only a few employees remained in the office. Rain poured outside the glass windows. Xinyi stayed behind to finish a design draft. She didn't notice Li Wei watching her from the doorway. You're still here, Li Wei said softly. Xinyi startled. I wanted to finish this. Li Wei walked in slowly. The office lights were dim now, the city glowing behind them. Is that really why? Li Wei asked. Xinyi's breath caught. What do you mean? Li Wei stopped in front of her. Close. Too close. You've been avoiding me? I'm not. You are. The silence stretched between them, thick with everything unsaid. Then Li Wei's voice softened. Does it bother you, seeing me with Zhao Xin? Xinyi's heart pounded so loudly she was sure Li Wei could hear it. That's none of my business, Xinyi replied quietly. Li Wei stepped even closer, close enough that their breaths mingled. But it used to be. The words hung in the air. Xinyi looked up, eyes vulnerable. You don't get to say things like that and pretend it doesn't mean something. For the first time, Li Wei's composure cracked. It does mean something, she admitted. Rain hit harder against the windows. Years of distance, pride, and unresolved feelings stood between them, but so did longing. And for the first time since they reunited, neither of them stepped away. The rain hadn't stopped. The office was nearly empty. Just the soft hum of air conditioning and the sound of water against glass. Li Wei and Sun Xinyi stood inches apart. Does it bother you, seeing me with Zhao Xin? Li Wei asked again, her voice lower now. Xinyi swallowed. It shouldn't. But it does. It wasn't a question. Silence. Xinyi finally looked up, her eyes shining with emotions she had tried so hard to bury. You don't get to come back into my life like this and expect me not to feel anything. Li Wei's breath hitched slightly. Come back? She repeated. You were the one who left. The words hit like lightning. I left because you told me to. Xinyi whispered, voice trembling. You said your family would never accept us. You said loving me would ruin your future. Li Wei's expression cracked, the calm, controlled CEO mask finally slipping. I thought I was protecting you. By pushing me away? Xinyi's voice broke. Do you know how much that hurt? The distance between them felt unbearable, now filled with years of misunderstanding. Li Wei reached out slowly, hesitantly, her fingers brushing against Xinyi's wrist. I never stopped loving you, she said softly. The confession hung between them. Xinyi's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Then why does it feel like you're still holding back? She asked. Li Wei didn't answer immediately. Because the truth was she was. The storm outside grew stronger, thunder echoing across the city. Inside, the tension finally snapped. You think I don't notice? Xinyi continued, voice shaking. The way you look at me, The way you get quiet when I'm near. You still feel it. Li Wei stepped closer. I do, she admitted. The air shifted. Slowly, carefully, Li Wei lifted her hand to cup Xinyi's cheek. The touch was warm, familiar, electric. Xinyi's breath caught. Li Wei, she whispered. For a moment, neither of them were boss and employee. They weren't professionals. They weren't pretending. They were just two women who had loved each other once. And maybe never stopped. Li Wei leaned in. Xinyi closed her eyes. Their lips were barely inches apart. And then, a phone rang. Sharp, loud, breaking the spell. They both froze. Li Wei pulled back first, composure snapping back into place like armor. It's late, she said quietly, stepping away. We shouldn't. Xinyi's chest felt hollow. Right, she whispered. The moment was gone. But something had changed, because now there was no denying it. The love between them wasn't buried. It was alive, and it was dangerous. The almost kiss changed everything. After that night, Li Wei became distant again, professional, composed, controlled. Meetings were shorter. Conversations were colder. The warmth from the rain-soaked confession seemed to vanish. To everyone else, nothing was wrong. But to Sun Xinyi, it felt like being abandoned all over again. Then one afternoon, Xinyi overheard something she wasn't meant to. Zhao Xin's voice echoed softly from Li Wei's office. You're really going through with it? Transferring to the Singapore branch? Xinyi froze outside the door. Transfer? Li Wei's voice was calm but heavy. It's the best decision. The board has been pressuring me, and it'll solve other complications. Complications? Xinyi's chest tightened. She stepped away before they could see her. So that was it. Li Wei was leaving, again. That evening, Xinyi didn't go home. She waited. When Li Wei finally walked out of her office, she found Xinyi standing by the window, city lights glowing behind her. You're transferring, Xinyi said quietly. Li Wei stopped. Silence. Yes. Without telling me? Li Wei's jaw tightened. It's not something that concerns you professionally. Stop hiding behind that word. Xinyi's voice cracked. Professional. Is that all we are now? Li Wei finally looked at her, and this time the walls were gone. I'm leaving because I can't think clearly when you're near me. Li Wei admitted. I tried to be responsible. I tried to choose the company. The expectations, the safe option. And what about us? Xinyi asked softly. Li Wei's voice broke for the first time. You were never the safe option. You were the one I loved. The confession filled the space between them raw and undeniable. The board meeting was scheduled for the next morning. Li Wei had one final chance to confirm her transfer. The conference room was silent as the directors waited for her answer. Miss Li, one of them said, shall we proceed with the relocation? Li Wei hesitated. For years she had chosen logic, stability, expectations. But love had walked back into her life, and this time, she wasn't willing to lose it again. I've reconsidered, Li Wei said firmly. I'm staying. Murmurs filled the room. Outside in the hallway, Xinyi stood frozen. She had come to say goodbye, but instead she heard everything. When Li Wei stepped out of the room, their eyes met. No more distance. No more pride. No more fear. You're staying? Xinyi whispered. Li Wei walked toward her slowly. I'm done running from what I feel, she said. I was afraid before. Afraid of my family. Afraid of expectations. Afraid of losing control. She stopped in front of Xinyi. But losing you was worse. Tears welled in Xinyi's eyes. Are you sure? She asked softly. This won't be easy. Li Wei smiled, not the CEO smile, the real one. It was never easy, she said. But it was always you. This time when Li Wei leaned in, there was no interruption. No ringing phone. No storm. Just quiet certainty. Their kiss was soft at first, hesitant, like relearning something familiar. Then deeper, filled with years of longing, forgiveness, and second chances. And for the first time since college, they weren't hiding. They weren't running. They were choosing each other. Love had returned when they least expected it. Not as a memory, not as regret, but as a second chance. And this time, neither of them let go. And so, what once ended in silence began again in courage. Li Wei and Xinyi learned that love doesn't disappear just because time passes. It waits. It grows quietly in the spaces between pride, fear, and unfinished conversations. They almost lost each other twice, once to expectations and once to fear. But this time they chose differently. They chose honesty. They chose bravery. And most of all, they chose each other. Because sometimes your greatest risk is also your greatest love. If you believed in their second chance, if their story made your heart race even a little, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more woman love woman stories filled with slow burn romance, tension, and heartfelt endings.